for our fourth and final set of the day. It's the SCC, and we are still in North America. It's going to be the Sages, the team behind me, and the Wardens, the team over there behind Trelly. It's Gore and Trelly. I just said your name, so I can say it twice. And we're going to be taking you through here as we have some fun, I think, in North America. Because, Trelly, we've been seeing, I think, a lot of variety from these teams so far. And I don't think, like, we've started to see more consistent gods that are quote-unquote meta, but I think there's still a lot of flexibility that 9-5 is allowing that I don't know that anything's completely written in stone yet.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that people are like, okay, we don't want to face that, so let's make sure that's banned away. But besides that, everything seems to be fair game. People are sort of just, throwing their strats at the wall, seeing what sticks, that sort of thing. We have the tried and true characters like, Fenrir are always going to be pretty decent if you want to focus around a pick style comp, but everything else I think is a pretty fair game.
Now this is going to be, I think, a very fun one to watch unfolding in the Wardens taking on the Sages. Hounds and Storm will be playing, for those of you curious about that, Saturday morning, just before the SBL. So you'll have to wait a day, but I promise you the patience will be well rewarded because you'll get up on a nice Saturday morning, you have a couple hours for cartoons, and then you get to watch the SEC, and you go watch SBL. And then if you want to, there's maybe Saturday night cartoons, who knows? We'll see how the standings change, though, here. The Wardens, maybe surprising, at least me a little bit, because they gravitated towards the bottom after the first week. It's only 0-1. It's not the end of the road, but it's definitely not where you want to start out.
Yeah, it's interesting because whenever I look at this Wardens roster, I've said this a few times on the desk, it just seems like a team that should definitely be up there. But their opponents, the Sages, are definitely no slouches either. I like to think of them playing out of the mid lane more often than not. Briz has just been such a dynamic player on this squad. Not really playing, as you mentioned, there's these picks that are on top of the ladder, right? Things that you want to be looking at more often than not. And then Briz just doesn't really care about those meta picks. He's like, I just want to play Agni. I'm going to pick it whenever. I don't care who gets through. People are playing Hunters in the mid lane. Not Briz. He's just going to stick to his Agni, maybe the Thought, that sort of thing. He just wants to get pressure in that lane, and it seems like the team likes playing through that.
And honestly, that might be necessary for this set because, as it turns out, Slash, typically playing with this team, not going to be here for just this set. And so, of course, their coach, Taco, is going to be stepping in for them. And the way this has worked for them is that Snoopy's going to swap over there to the solo lane, taking Slash's place, and Taco's going to go over into where she is very comfortable, in the taco roll, the ADC roll. Yeah, the taco roll.
She's going to make tacos
it was made for her specifically. No, yeah, over there in the carry roll. And so that's going to be a little bit of a change up. That means that your core three, Privative, Briz, Jengaru, still playing together, still playing consistently. But these pillars that you have on the outside are maybe going to have a different look than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, Snoopy's been around for a while, and he's played a few roles.
He's played a lot.
He's played a few roles in his time as well. So I have to imagine that he's got some solo laners in the back pocket, as well as the fact that you can just play Hunters over there as well. So maybe we'll just see Snoopy say, I'm just going to be playing solo duo lane. I'll just pick the Chernobyls, that sort of thing in this lane. It's not going to affect our team play that much at all.
It is it's actually really funny that because we watched him, like one of his highlights was just playing Chernobyl. Yeah. He'd just do that over there now if he really wanted to. They're going to be going up against the Wardens, though. And this is a team that is difficult to beat, to say the least. Again, why I'm so surprised that they ended up getting taken down last week. Although, of course, they were up against the Hounds, which is simultaneously another team that is really, really hard to beat. This is going to be your relentless one, Sino, Moswall, Gino, Griff, like a lot of hard hitters that line up on this roster.
And it's definitely not easy to pick or ban against them either. I mean, we've already talked in great detail about how odd the picks and bans are right now for any team, but a team like the Wardens, where you just never know if Sino's going to say...
where they were already picking weird things.
Yeah, it's like, Sino's playing Scotty jungle or ESET jungle, and it's obviously that strange, but now you never know what could be played at this point. Are you going to be dealing with a typical style of solo pick? Obviously, the Relentless one has been going more towards those tried and true warriors with the Glad Shield buff, stuff like that, but it's just never something you're able to count out, and you have to just, take it as one step at a time in the picks and bans, really. Not letting any sort of pick say, okay, that's definitely going one place. You sort of just have to, just go through the emotions and say, we don't really know where everything's lining up just yet.
And I'm curious how picks and bans are going to go for this one. In fact, you know what? We can just go ahead and find out by jumping into them. Because it feels like for the Wardens, like you said, trying to ban picks against this team, it's very difficult to do. Do you target Sino, who has a million gods in his god pool? Do you target Griff, who seemingly has a million gods in their god pool, right? Like they've got too much. Or, and then I guess, conversely for the Wardens, do you ban out solo laners? Do you ban out carries? Like, where do you target them? I think you had highlighted the jungle earlier for this Aegis, and the mid lane maybe. But so far it's the Yamoja, what is that, a Matarasu, as well as a Nemesis. And a Matarasu, it maybe kind of raising some flags there, because I don't think we've seen that as a ban all day.
Yeah, it's just targeted towards Relentless One. He loves this Amma in that solo lane, and usually is able to get some pretty solid pressure, but you're up against Maswal in the mid lane as Riz, and he's leaning towards those Outwashes and the Zeuses, things like that. That's never something you want to waste a ban on, but also you just have to accept there's going to be a ton of AoE teamfight presence and a lot of anti-heal. But Mercury is something that's been on the top of the picks and bans list for quite some time, and Chernobog right there as well. But the Wardens are going to grab Thoth, which does not immediately scream to me a Maswal pick, but he's got to have one in the back pocket, right?
Oh, yeah, at this point, right? Like, you've played too much Smite for too long and done too well in the past to not be able to play a Thoth. And I think we might have seen one in like phase 1. There was that weird period where Thoth was like really good. Everyone wanted to play him, but also simultaneously no one wanted to play him because you could just, potentially find easy ganks. They get that in the Chernobog, and we were talking about that as a potential for Snoopy to try and pick up. So stripping away something that could have been an asset here for this Aegis while they have this swap going on, and maybe making things a little more awkward for them in their entire pick and ban phase.
Yeah, I think that was a smart option there. Just taking that away and making sure that Snoopy can't use this ADC in the solo lane if that is the option. But it looks like the ESET and the Jingwei are going to be locked in here. ESET could be taking away from Sino on the other side, but now that we see the Erlong probably going into the jungle more often than not, we have seen a bit of the solo laner Erlong shed.
Yeah.
Not the best look, I don't think. Your lane pressure's not the best, and you are pretty susceptible to these ganks. You're forced into beats, especially up against a Mercury. There's just so much CC. So for my money, probably going to sign on the jungle, so nothing weird yet. But given the fact that we're seeing the Gab ban and things like that, I don't think this ESET will be going to the support role, probably going to mid. And it's interesting because for a while, it was just ESET support. That's all we're going to see. But now that the SPL has been going for a bit, and we've seen after the Masters, ESET's been going more towards that mid role as well.
I was thinking, unless Wardens have it. Like, if Wardens have it, then it's mid, support, or jungle, and it changes everything. A lot of support-centric bans, though. The Athena, the Ares, the Geb you had mentioned. Shiva gets banned. Again, someone else that we haven't seen in weeks at this rate. I mean, he has been gone since the end of phase 1. We saw a couple of teams picking him up, but it has just dropped off the face of the battlegrounds, I guess, not the earth. Maybe the earth, too.
Both, but as we expected from the Sages, we're seeing double Hunters. So it looks like either Snoopy or Taco are taking either the Jingwei or the Heimdall, respectively, to one of those lanes, just saying, we're just making the solo lane an extra duo lane at this point. We put our ADC over there because of the fact that Slash is out. Might as well make the best use of that. Chernobog's gone. Jingwei gets a free teleport in that sense, and Heimdall also gets a free teleport. So either one of them could play that solo lane pretty effectively up against what I can only assume is going to be the Bastet or the Erlang. I think they're pretty interchangeable in that regard, but a lot of damage coming from the Wardens and a lot of not much CC coming from the Sages is what I'm trying to say here. They have no real tanks. It's just an ESET and an ADC.
Well, they will hit really hard when they get there. We'll see how it works out in game, though. As we jump into the map, this is going to be a fun one to watch because I think we have seen compositions like the Sages are running absolutely steamroll teams.
Yeah.
And we have seen them just get demolished. It feels like there is no in-between. There's no, we're going to drag you out to 50 minutes of gameplay because it's so back and forth. Like, you are going to do one or the other. And a lot of it is going to depend on specifically whether or not Privative is able to bring that strength that an ESET and support can. I think we've seen it a little recently. A lot of focus from Jake, I want to say, not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. Didn't look too great, I'm going to be honest, in that set. Like, there are moments that it has its strengths, but it does not necessarily stand out. Now laning with Taco as opposed to Snoopy, someone that Privative's gotten at least a little used to, maybe changes up the dynamic of how that lane's going to feel.
Yeah, I'm one of the bigger ESET support haters that we have on the casting team because I think that ESET really does just need damage to be able to make use out of circle protection. There is a lot of CC to be had, and the lockdown is good, and the peel is decent, but ESET as a solo tank is my issue, right? There's a few tanks that I think excel in being the one tank of the squad. If you're going to have this ADC in the solo lane, if you're going to say, I'm going to be the sole member of my team standing at the forefront of the fight, and everyone else is going to be backliners, you know, things like Kumba, things like, you know, anything that has a lot of CC and ways to get out, ESET is either in or out, so you're either winning that fight or you're losing that fight. That's sort of the issue with this pick. But Primitive going into the beads and going for the Gaunt of Deep Start is going to help out as Relentless One, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is fun to watch. Snoopy just controlling the lane. Looks like... Oh no, he's going to play it aggressively. Not going to find the auto. And so Relentless One creating just enough space there. In fact, going back in for the fight. We'll see how this ends up working out for either of them. Looks like Snoopy now is going to be the one on the back foot. And this is maybe the most, I want to say, interesting lane that they're going to have going on for them. A little bit of pressure early on for the Wardens in the dual lane. So Snoopy may be able to make up for that by being able to box out a Bastet. Not a matchup I think that Relentless One has had to face in a while. Is up against a Heimdall of all things.
Yeah, I would assume we haven't seen the Bastet v Heimdall lane in your scrims that many times, but it is going to be a beautiful pull-in. Riv's going to take a fair bit of damage here, but has the Dispel Magic that just gives a nice health shield, and ESET pretty slippery in her own right in this lane, so should be just fine with that pull-in. But I'm expecting to see Sino get very active, because you already highlighted it. This team has 3 ADCs in the sense of, you know, 2 Hunters and a Mercury. Getting to late game is where it really is going to shine. The Wardens want to try to put the brakes on that as much as possible, and Sino has the blink. I'm expecting to see this Erlong get very aggressive. It looks like he's posturing towards a purple buff invade on the way now. And Priven, Taco, both have their beads up, but here goes.
Yeah, that's going to be an easy route, easy kill onto Priven. Now Taco, surrounded by 3 Jingarus here, might be able to find some peel. This is not necessarily the strength of a Mercury 3 minutes in. Maybe going to be looking for the defense on the purple buff. Not going to be able to find it. Goes under the tier 2. And it's just first blood, but over to Griff. So the Wardens start off with a good start.
Yeah, that's not... I mean, I don't know who you want the... Maybe if Gino got the last hit, that's who you want the first blood to go to. Anyone else...
Like worst case scenario.
Yeah, anyone else is going to be rough. And Griff is going to be able to run this lane. Already, Taco's on Jingwei, right, which doesn't get much lane pressure, doesn't love fighting until crit is built. Chernobog really doesn't love it either, but with a first blood, with Transcendence being stacked just so much earlier, Griff is going to be able to run this lane and then rotate to everyone else using that ultimate, that global presence, and just making everyone's life miserable. So I expect to see Sino on that purple buff on cooldown. Every time it's about to spawn in, we're going to see that Erlong over there, unless Griff just has just an overwhelming amount of pressure, then probably can just do it himself.
That's going to be difficult, I think, to match up to. Once the trans comes online, Snoopy looking for a little more. No, takes the crystal away. I thought we were about to see maybe something. Well, I was going to say something fancy. We already saw the fancy thing. Relentless One.
Just jumping over the
over the ult is pretty fancy. And Snoopy can't make any magic work after that one, so he just falls back.
Yeah, it was. I foresaw the opportunity, right off the Gjallarhorn. You got the knockup. You have a chance to go for that ult, but hesitated a little bit, was like, wait, should I do this? I'm going to go for it, and then missed it. So now Snoopy probably has to play a lot safer in the lane, but given the fact that neither of them have back, Relentless One probably wants to stack up that Soul Eater as quickly as possible, while Snoopy wants to get that Transcendence, or maybe even the Dominance start. Either one is going to be solid here. You're not looking to get too aggressive until you've backed at that point. There's no teleport, so they're just going to be clearing the wave, maybe throwing some abilities at each other, but unless these junglers get active, which finally Jengar takes over to level 5, there is an opportunity for that Sonic Boom to set up some pressure in that lane. We're gonna see some abilities being thrown, maybe some ultimates missed. Who really cares at this point?
Yeah, that's the thing about the Mercury though, is you know, like you said, it does feel so almost so late game that it hurts sometimes, right? Like right now, you know, you hit your level 5, you get yourself the Golden Blade, you're feeling like you got a good power spike. Sino's just better, though. Like, this god at this period of time is just going to do better things than what you can accomplish. Good displacement, though, good ults. And so I'm excited to see what Jane Garden can do. I also wanted to compliment you. I almost forgot about it, but you had said, like, 3 ADCs, and you threw Mercury out there because, like, it's very... I think we use it so much in, like, placement of just saying, like, the Hunter.
Yeah.
That it's easy to forget that it's attack, damage, carry. That's what Mercury does to a T. That just made me happy.
Well,
I wanted you to know that.
Well, I appreciate you appreciating me, because a lot of people, they'll come in and they'll say, "What does ADC even stand for?" A lot of people don't even know what it means. They just have highlighted that as, yeah, it's like short for hunter, I guess. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, attack, damage, carry. They use auto attacks, and that's what Merc does. But it looks like Jengaru could be going for a Harpy on the right side of the map, but also could be looking for any sort of gank onto this Bastet. Unless Relentless One ults and beads and has the jump down, I'm not seeing a golden opportunity for a Mercury to gank this solo lane. It looks like Jengaru stepped over a ward on the way over, so I don't think Relentless One is going to create that opportunity anytime soon.
Yeah, it still has the lead. Should be fine. I'm just keeping my eyes on Jengaru.
Yeah,
it's a heavy should, because I'm like, all right, where's Jengaru going to go? Well, this one's getting aggressive. There's the Heimdall ult, but it's going to end up not connecting the way you want. Dash forward. Jengaru's here, but doesn't have the lockdown. So ult for ult trade, and then a missed Sonic Boom just off the mark. And Relentless One, yeah, you can throw out some taunts in this one. Control of the lane goes to Bastet.
Yeah, I've done that a few times where you miss the dash, and then you're like, it's okay, I'll make up for it with the ult. Then you ult in, and then you're like, can we just stop? Like, can we just call this gank off before it gets worse? There's not many more abilities that you can really miss on Mercury. But that is one of the benefits of this Mercury, is that you can farm very quickly. You can traverse the map very quickly. You have that golden blade. You have your speed buff. So wasting some abilities here and there, you're not going to get too far down behind in farm. Sino does tick over to level 8 as we see a 1v1 opportunity.
Yeah, Taco hitting the shots. Chernobog goes up in the air. You either go somewhere, potentially get chased down. He's going to go somewhere.
Ooh.
Oh, the Spirit Ball just off the mark, so Griff gets out of there. If he comes crashing back down, though, probably dies. So it's the better option of the two. Now it's a dive onto Briz. Briz takes a lot. The push from the Dragon does a little bit. And then uses the self-banish, gets away for now. Jengaru creates some space, has Sino up against the wall. But with Gino here, with Moswall here, the Sages don't feel too confident in their capabilities to fight this.
Yeah, this is an interesting invade here. Sino, Gino, and Relentless One all at the speed buff on the opposite side of the map. All the camps have been taken away at this point, so not wanting to stick around too much longer. And that's such an interesting opportunity. Whenever we see these Chernobyls go up into the ult, it's a game of chess. Am I going to go back down? Am I going to go to the weakest member of your team to try and survive? In that instance, Priv does not have any damage built, just 20 stacks on a Gauntlet of Thieves. Even if every ability connected there, Griff still had the beads and probably would have been able to dash out of the circle of protection. So chose the right option. No one else was around the E set there to try and follow up. Taco probably one or two more autos was able to clean that one up as well. So going to have a little bit of more pressure in that lane.
Yeah.
We saw the Chernobog fly away, so the Jingwei gets to farm freely during that time. And then a solid fight behind the tower. We saw Briz almost die, gets up into that Celestial Flight, and then just gets out of dodge there and is going to be just fine. So a good opportunity for some gold. None to be had. It's just going to be a full reset here as we see once again Jengaru going solo.
Ooh, the ult just short, though. The dash misses, leaped over by Relentless One. Two ganks and two nothings coming out from the right-hand side so far.
I mean, this is what I was talking about. Unless Relentless One ult, beads, and jumps, I see no reason for Jengaru to be over here. And twice we've seen a special delivery and a major and a Sonic Boom miss, and twice we've seen really nothing netted. And it looks like Sino's not getting active on the opposite side of the map, which usually is the threat, right? If we're going to waste a gank on the right side, the left side opens up. We haven't seen too much of that. Sino really got active in mid lane last time, and that was about it. So Jengaru not wasting his time. Gino gonna take a fair bit of damage here as well. No anti-heal built just yet for this squad, so the Sages, all their poke onto a Sylvanas isn't really gonna stick. I imagine as the game peters on, maybe a Divine Ruin in the future for Briz.
Yeah, I think, outside of First Blood, Sino hasn't really, actually no one really has ventured over to the left-hand side of the map. It's been devoid, except for the two carries that are hanging out there. I also think, and this is just props that I think need to be given to the Sages, typically, even when it's a sub, even when you have players like Snoopy and Taco that are playing, usually the kind of matchup gets one-sided a lot quicker, right? Like, you go into competitive, even if you're playing at the same rank with these dudes all the time, it gets a little more heavy-handed, especially against a team like the Wardens. So I think it's actually kind of phenomenal watching them hold their own to an extent, and the only reason there's an asterisk on it is because they are 2,000, 2,500 now gold behind, which is going to cause a lot of disruptions. 10 minutes in, that's a very good lead for the Wardens to just passively be picking up. But this Pyromancer, at least is going to equalize some of that. Good rotation, good damage numbers. should help them, and you had mentioned it earlier, but with Circle of Protection, most early objectives are going to be pretty easy to secure.
Yeah, I still think if anyone showed up, that could have been a toss-up because, again, Priv just has Gauntlet of Thieves. So you need some damage to get the value out of that, as Priv does have the beads and will just be able to run away here unless a good pull-in by Gino has a 1v1 in. So, oh, man.
Taco, oh, no! That's not even the last hit from Griff. It's the minions that get the damage necessary. But the 1v1, that Atalanta's putting in the work early, the crits that were flying. And Griff just had a small advantage and able to find it. It's only 20% crit chance, but it's enough to find a solo and open up a Gold Fury. Just going to get the Wardens right back on top.
Yeah, I just got to say, this is the strength of these two build paths where you get the Itch of All and you think, okay, maybe I'll be able to trade pretty effectively, but Transcendence and Atalanta's bow essentially means you might be hitting me more, but my auto attacks simply do more damage. You're 1 to 2 autos. Hold that touch, and Garter finds a great ult, and Moswell's forced to beads.
Now the chase is on. Good taunt, but again, beads are going to be there. Briz is so low, but Briz gets up into that Celestial height. Unfortunately, Jengaru does not have the same option and is now dead. The Warden's not going to continue. Well, they're going to continue a little bit. Thought that's too much range, but not enough damage just yet.
This is the other part about this Mercury pick that I hate. You have no one else getting beads for you, so every time we see Jengaru land an ult and go in for the grab, the beads comes through, and then everyone just is able to turn onto the Mercury. Sino does steal away the speed buff, and it's going to have to run away from Briz and Priv, and all it takes is the Mink, and he's going to be just fine running away. And now Griff going to take away the purple buff. The Wardens are essentially uncontested all over the map right now. It's really just Jengaru trying to get active with these Sonic Booms, but without someone else forcing those relics, Moswell just beads, dashes away, and then the Mercury has used everything to get in, can't get out at that point. So great answer back. Now that gold lead climbing to, whew, look at about 5,000 in favor of the Wardens at 13 minutes. That is massive.
Yeah. That's 1,000 per player, you know, give or take. Like, actual net worth probably varies who's going to be above who by that much. But you can see a very large chunk in favor of the Warden. Snoopy's one hit away. The rest of the team is getting knocked up. Circle of Protection not going to have enough healing here. Priv just trying to get out. Oh, and unfortunately, they're not going to make it there. Relentless One takes some damage in return, but there's not a single kill on the board just yet for the Sages.
Can I just say that was a invade onto a red buff, 5,000 gold down as Griff dashes in, 2 autos will do it and lands them, and Briz goes down as well.
With the fadeaway.
You can't pay to have this amount of confidence, and I'm talking about the Sages. They were invading that red buff 6k down and forgot, I guess, that Griff can just fly in whenever he wants. That 3v3 turns into a 4v3. And now it's just even more in favor of the Wardens. No neutral objectives to go for. I can't imagine a Fire Giant gets pulled this early on, but the Wardens can just, you know, decide wherever they want to push, wherever they want to force anything. That's 10,000 experience, Gore, at 14 minutes.
And now, I gotta do some math. I'll pull my calculator out here, but that's a lot. Like, I think generally if you say 10,000 across 14, your calculator does just say, damn, that's wild. And that's all they're feeling. Snoopy also saying, damn, that's wild. Like, that's, I mean, that's just all she wrote. No beads, no Aegis. And Aussie passive can only get you so much. I like the presence, and I even kind of like the draft from the Sages here, but it definitely is starting to feel Trelly. You know, 8,000 gold up, 14, 15 minutes in, that things are maybe getting a little too out of hand for the Sages.
Yeah, I personally don't like the draft. It could work. It's just, I think Priv is one of the most mechanically gifted supports in this league, and putting him on the E set, the solo tank of the squad, it's not a great engage, right? If you have one tank, why be someone that wants to sit back, right? Usually you'd think, like, okay, we have one tank, it's a Blink Sylvanas, this is our initiate, we're gonna go in off that sort of thing. ESET essentially has to sit back and peel for the squad, maybe hit a good Spirit Ball to set something up, but besides that, it puts a lot of weight on Jengaru's shoulders, and I think that's why we've seen these Sonic Booms been flying through, you know, every time they're off cooldown, essentially trying to find something. Here is an ult on to Sino,
yeah,
though.
Might be able to finally change that goose egg. Nope, there's a beads from Sino. And now the question is more, can you get out that rage? Putting in some work with the crits. Priv isolated, alone, Circle of Protection, drop that damage, that healing, not gonna be enough. And Griff is going to be able to find the kill. The other two get out of there, so support's doing their best job. This one maybe once more. Still finds some damage, is looking to leap in. And just putting out pressure. Tier 1 and right went down earlier. Tier 1 and mid goes down 16 minutes in. And the Wardens are now exploring the jungle freely as they have full reign. It feels like anything beyond the Tier 2 side of the map for the Sages.
Yeah, I like how Relentless One jumped in and you phrased it as like Relentless One once more question mark, but who's gonna stop it? Like, who's gonna show up and be able to put down this Bastet at the moment? No one even has the damage to try and out DPS the Soul Eater, the Glad Shield, the Spirit Robe that this Bastet has. Looking at Sino, 4 levels up in the jungle, but it looks like we might see a little 1v1 opportunity here, but the Bifrost does Bifrost things, and Snoopy will be able to get out of there just in the nick of time. But either way, Relentless One is going largely uncontested right now wherever he decides to show up. I'm not seeing many kill opportunities for anyone on the Wardens unless Gino just, steps up a little bit too far. There's 3 shells on the side of the Warden, so since you're up against the triple ADC comp, you have a lot of auto attack blocking in that regard as well. These are going to start to get upgraded throughout the game, and it's going to get even worse. So the Sages have a steep hill to climb to get these ADCs online.
I mean, it's difficult. I think it is the path ahead of the Sages here. 8,000 gold, though. It hadn't moved much further beyond that, although not without effort. They're going to try for it over here. Finally, someone's going to pick up a kill. Taco takes down Griff. It looks like they're going to end up losing Priv in the process, but it's a kill that Taco gets 2 levels down, plus the Fury.
Yeah.
And that's going to open up a lot for him.
Yeah, Priv got gold. Taco gets the shutdown kill onto Griff. That's a 6-0 shutdown, by the way. So the Jingwei should be able to get some items all the while in the right lane. Jengaru and Snoopy were just pushing up this right side as maybe Relentless One could walk into a trap here. Well,
it's going to be...
Gonna have some time to think about it.
Yeah, where are you gonna land and what are you gonna do here? Relentless One throws him against the wall. There's the leap. And I'm starting to have flashbacks to what you said. If the ult is up, if the leap is up, maybe you get out of there, but no, the knockup's still gonna be there. There's going to be some CC immunity, but only for a little bit. Knockup's good from Gino. The healing is keeping him going, and they're gonna turn around one of these kills. Jengaru goes down. Relentless One, no mana to work with, and Snoopy does not have the power to continue chasing this. In fact, it's gonna be the turnaround. 3 surrounding him. Oh, and the 2v1 turns to a 3v2 too quickly. They go down, and the Wardens are starting up an FG.
And no one from the Sages are even close. And I love the thought process there. Bastet's got no beads. We have a CC chain here. We can send him up to Niflheim. We have so much time to just try and CC chain this Bastet. But Soul Eater's a thing, and anti-heal is not a thing. So unfortunately, Relentless One is able to stall so much until Gino comes in. I just realized how poetic it was that his brother was able to shell him, save him, and then they just turn in and they get the kill as well. So great answer back. Snoopy was forced into a 3rd item, Toxic Blade. Not something you want on Heimdall really ever. There's a couple core items in the ADC build right now, and Toxic Blade is not one of them, but you have a Mercury as your jungle, who also cannot build into anti-heal very well. Maybe the Shadow Steel Shuriken, but there's a lot of items on Mercury that you want.
Yeah.
Wind Demon and Deathbringer being 2 of them, and since you've already itemized into the Golden Blade and the Rage, there's no room for anti-heal, so Snoopy forced into it. You're up against so much healing, and you can't really deal with it. That's the main issue I'm seeing right now with these ganks. Maybe you've got the damage to CC someone down, but the sustain is there, and it's just, that's not going to work out.
Just trying to figure out. At this point, it's watching the Wardens play with the map where they want. The line of scrimmage, typically, I like to think of it as like the middle of the map right at the beginning of the game. Pretty much like right where that crack, that water is, that goes across, mid? I think it goes across duo as well. And I don't like playing solo lane, so I can't tell you anything about over there. But it's moved, typically you see the advantage. We'll get bumped back to the tier 1s.
Right.
It's on the tier 2s. 20 minutes in, I don't think you want to go further past them unless you need to.
Yeah, you can't even go for your red buff after a Fire Giant goes down because that's just where the ganks will set in. Relentless One is actually defending your green buff at this point, so you can't leave your Phoenixes. The Sages are going to have some time to try and grab some gold on the right side of the map, but left side Phoenix is getting run down.
Yeah, they are just moving forward, barreling down. They've got a Trebuchet up in this lane soon. There's going to be the taunt from Sino onto Priv. They aren't going to find the kill off of it yet, but the relics popped. Privative missing theirs. Jengaru just dead. And the Phoenix is still going to go down in the 5v4. The Wardens are moving forward, trying to chase this down. Griff goes in with the ult, and when you're 8-1, you absolutely feel like you have the power to make sure that that happens. Stun from Privative is going to slow them down, but the Trebuchet is here. Doesn't seem like that's going to be enough to give the Wardens the confidence that they can knock this down. 10,000 gold. They're going to continue the fight. Relentless Ones isolated a little bit, but the healing's too strong. You called it earlier. Now Snoopy, Taco too low. Taken down and eliminated there in the 2v5. 10 seconds for Jangaru. Can they hold out long enough? And can the Mercury get something done for them? Priv, one auto away. The stun's good, but the kill's a little bit better. The Titan has not taken a lot of damage just yet.
Sino is getting
Wardens
towers.
are playing with it. Look at this Jangaru. Oh, he's coming back and might be the resurgence. Yeah, Sino just left the fight earlier, by the way. And it seems like that's going to be the call for the rest of the Wardens. He gets the tower. Now they're going for the Phoenix.
Sino said that Titan is too tanky. I will go get towers while you guys try to farm them in well. Now, the mid lane Phoenix will go down as Sino goes in on a Jangaru here. Maybe this will be the call to back off, but Gino wants to try and find a little bit more. And finally, the Wardens will make that call to retreat.
30 seconds without Relentless One. 10 seconds, and now less, 5 for everyone else to respawn here on the Sages. It is exactly as you said. 35 seconds left on the power play. Let's get out of here. Let's see what we can do elsewhere. We got minions starting to knock on the right side, Phoenix, if you're the Wardens here. And that's actually maybe the most impressive thing. 2 Phoenixes down, 2 kills to 16, 11,000 gold. And yet the Sages have still put themselves in a spot where there's technically a win condition. And I only say technically because there's a lot of work to do to get to that point. But one good team fight around an FG while you maintain these, waves in mid and left, you could win.
And Snoopy won lane, as far as I'm concerned. That tier 2 tower still stands tall in the right lane, and, Relentless Ones is down. Sino getting very low, but Snoopy, oh my gosh.
Well, that's definitely going to put a stop in the plans, a wrench in the plans. 2 people dead, 40 seconds without Snoopy or Jangaru. A couple of ults maybe invested from the Wardens. What more can they find?
Taco's dashing in.
Taco dashes in, and she finds the kill onto Griff. Another shutdown, now 9-2, and is able to get out alive. That should be some big spending, and might just be the only equalizer they could have around an FG after losing 2 members.
All right, say what you want about this match, but Taco has Griff's number. I mean, every time that there's a shutdown to be had.
Almost got the solo kill earlier as well.
Yeah, she's finding those opportunities at the very least, trying to claw this team back in, getting some gold online. The Jingwei is certainly the hard carry here. Snoopy is itemized more in a way that helps the other physical damage dealers on this squad do damage in the sense of the Executioner, shredding some protections. You do have Priv as well with the peel and the setup. Fire Giant, this is not enhanced. This is only 23 minutes into the game, so the Sages have some avenues to try and throw the brakes on what the Wardens are doing, trying to stall, get these ADCs online. There's only one member that's level 20 on the left side of the map, and it will be the Jingwei, so an upgraded starter could be in the future as well.
All right, now, a lot of it is just deal with the Oni Fire minions in left, the Oni Fire minions in mid. Those are 2 strong pleas. And then, the just regular Oni minions over there on right that are going to be a little troublesome. Snoopy, Jangaru, and now Griff all back. Griff has their ult, so that's something you have to be worried about. Griff has been very aggressive with this ult. We'll see whether or not they can make the difference. Fire Giant is hanging around there. Pyromancer as well respawned. It looks like it's going to be started up. Taco will spot this one out. Good shots on the Moswell, but there's the taunt, and that ult just barely gets her out of there. The pin damage not going to be able to connect. Griff, though, with 1 auto. That'll actually be Sino who finds the kill, shuts that down, and FG will get scooped up there. Snoopy looking for the fight. Stun going to be just wide from Priv. They've got the damage, but can they kill the Bastet? Seems like the leap is just enough to disengage. Snoopy's still here. This one isn't backing off fully. The rest of the team surging down the right-hand lane. The knockup's going to be good. The damage needs to be there. You got to play it safe and careful. And they do so. They take down the solo laner here.
That was a 3v1 for so long.
Forward. That's wild.
They didn't have that much anti-heal. Even with the Toxic Blade, it was not enough. And now that right side Phoenix will be getting looked at here. The left side won't respawn. The middle Phoenix is about to respawn as well, but the Wardens can just surgically pick apart the base of the Sages. They have so much time here to figure out what they want to do, as Jengaru's trying to get the minions out of there so that mid Phoenix won't have backdoor protections.
Yeah, I think with this mid Phoenix, it's going to respawn and fall down incredibly fast. Left side Phoenix, it's technically going to be able to heal, what, a little bit? They should be able to collapse on that, only if they want to. What a shot from Moswall! Kills off Briz! Jengaru goes in with the ult, tries to save some for their team, but no Snoopy for another 5 seconds. Jengaru's pulling Sino away at the minimum. Spirit Ball not going to connect from Privative. You've got Taco and Snoopy. A lot of damage between the two carries. Is it enough for this to be a 3v5? Jengaru's got to back and back fast. They're going to have the 4-man numbers. Circle of Protection dropped, and the Titan, its health bar is falling. The Wardens doing the damage necessary, and they are not looking like they will fall just yet. They get the kill, and they win the game to start off things with a 1-0.
Yeah, for me, I think it was just the one pick of taking away the Chernobog from the Sages draft really made it crumble. I have a feeling that was the go-to, right? Throw Snoopy into solo lane, get him on that Chernobog. Maybe they're able to split the map, but because Griff was able to get it for themselves, the Wardens take that global presence. Heimdall is just not the same. You can use that teleport to get yourself out of trouble, but you can't put it on a Gold Fury right away and just say, I'm going there. You have to place it at some point, and then you're losing all this farm. So the Heimdall just wasn't able to fulfill what that team comp really needed.
Well, we're going to be looking, I guess, through the breakdown, maybe the magnificent numbers there for the Wardens. I'm curious about their GPM, considering how well farmed they were. And, of course, maybe at the picks and bans and how the Sages will change things up. But before we get into all of that, we're going to kick it to a quick break. We'll be right back. the Wardens are up 1-0 after a pretty stellar performance. I think for a majority of the beginning of that game, it felt like it could be either way, although the gold just started slowly getting a little further and further and further ahead for the Wardens. And eventually, it was a little bit too much, Trelia, and the kills, the whole of it, just really, really pulled themselves too far ahead. And unfortunately, it did not seem like having, unfortunately, like Snoopy never could really get to the carry point. You had mentioned it, the build, a little bit too focused on making everybody else do too much damage. Taco got some great kills, but Jengaru never really got to completely push themselves forward. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess, how they adapt for game number 2.
Yeah, at this point, I think if you're not able to get one of these picks that find some success in the solo lane, like Snoopy wants to play these ADCs, right? So if the Chernobog, the AMC, the Apollo, these are the sort of things we've seen in the SPL work to varying degrees of success. If those aren't on the option, I feel as if you're better off just putting him on a warrior and seeing what's going to happen there, because there was just no real engage for this squad, and it's just the Heimdall ult isn't enough. Priv was not able to be that solo tank for the squad, getting behind early as well. Jengaru was trying to force these opportunities, trying to make some success happen. It just wasn't enough. I think if that's going to be your plan to try and get this ADC online, then maybe go a different way with the draft. There was some rays of success, as we mentioned. Taco and Briz were able to find a kill or two and go relatively even in the matchup, but just the squad as themselves, they just weren't able to get online, and just the goal deficit was just too much.
It just makes things too hard. Too much of an uphill battle. I mean, even here, you're looking at 8-0. Down 8,000 gold, and they're still getting kills. They started getting very, very aggressive. And Shelly, I think it's something that, if you're the Sages, like, at any point, if you're playing with a sub, this is not something I think that you take to heart fully, right? You ride it, you say, look, Wardens were one of the top teams last phase. We can't necessarily, be upset that us with sub, despite how good Taco can be at Smite, it's not going to be the full flourish of what the Wardens can bring to the table. But they are going to be changing some things up going into game number 2. First, I want to look at these numbers mainly to see, one, the high amount of kills, 6-1 for Relentless One, 9-2, and then double 3-0 there for Sino and Mozball. So Gino doing the perfect support thing. Didn't get a single kill, has 15 total assists. But how did they do in their farming? That's what I'm looking at. The gold difference, the gold gaps, I see like 3K, 4K for a lot of players. And you can see that, 644 for Griff. They were having a good time while they were picking up all that gold. But they're going to be changing some things.
Hopefully.
And well, I know at least for a little bit. And so I have a question for you. So Snoopy as an ADC, we like that.
Right.
We've liked that since season 1. Like we've really liked that for a long time.
Of course.
Privative and solo. How do you feel about that?
So you're saying what? Taco?
Well, Taco in the support role.
So Taco supports, Priv and solo.
Taco support for Snoopy, and then Priv over in the solo lane.
I mean, I suppose it could work. Why?
That's because that's
what's
in
Are you telling me that's what's happening?
Yeah, it's in the desk content.
So I do like it, and I think they should try it. Is what I was gonna say. Okay, go on. Tell me that thing you were gonna tell me now.
That was it. I just wanted to see. I wanted to see how you felt about it.
That's what I thought. Good. So I predicted that, as we all saw live right here.
I'm interested to see how it ends up working out. I think this is, I'll even relate it to the media day yesterday as we get into picks and bans here, and that is that most of the supports were not shy about saying that they felt that they were just relic bots at the time. Like, you know what? If we hit our ult, we use our relics in a fight, and then we die, that's probably okay. Ideally, you probably get some CC off in there as well, but maybe not the same shining role that they want from themselves.
Were.
Yeah. And so, in theory, when you describe it that way, it sounds dead easy to do. Admittedly, it's not as simple as those few words, but it does seem like it's going to be maybe a little bit more, I don't know. It's usually like if you're going to have that sub, you want to throw him into the role that theoretically, I think Taco's ADC was just fine, right? But we'll see, I guess, how her support is. I don't know if I've ever seen her play support. I mean, it's going to be a first for me.
Yeah, we're about to figure out. I think the big issue there was, again, they just couldn't get the right engage with the squad, and they will grab the Chernobog here. So I mean, at this point, you could just run back to the old comp and say, all right, let's try this out, Snoopy in solo lane, because we know the Chernobog is able to be safe in this lane, is able to be global as well. But it looks like, they should just use that Chernobog in the dual lane respectively and find that sort of pressure whether they need to be. But the Wardens are going to grab the Erlang Shen, and also the Jingwei is being hovered. They haven't grabbed it yet, so I can't. Okay, now they've grabbed the Jingwei. So answering back with a very solid matchup there. Whenever Chernobog goes into the wall, you can usually just place your updraft and just sort of wait and see where he's going to dash out and knock him up, that sort of thing. A lot of CC already for the Wardens, and it looks like not letting Relentless One go back to the Bastet as well. Going to lock that in second.
Now, here's the question for the Bastet, because like Erlang is also a little more shaky. Like he can go solo technically.
Dragons of
And
the rivers,
what, we saw
obey
Inbound
my
play him
call.
in support once, although maybe we don't want to talk
We've
about
seen
that
Inbound
too,
play a
too
few
much.
things in support.
Yeah, so I guess like there's a conversation to be had about Erlang and where they're going. But this Bastet, solo or jungle, what do you think
Athena.
you're feeling?
Well, at the moment,
I guess based on as long as everything was right,
Right.
Privative Bastet or Jingaru Bastet is the options.
well, if those are the options, I have no data about the Privative Bastet
Yeah,
in this brain.
I don't
I
think
have
I've
some
ever seen
data
it.
about the Jingaru Bastet, and it's fine. Be able to hit your abilities. So I could certainly see it. It brings a little bit more CC. And it's
That's
gonna
not the vote of confidence. So I'm a player out there. I just want you to know that's not the vote of confidence I want. Like if I'm locking in something and you go, yeah, so it's fine.
Well, I'm not here to empower them. I'm here to judge
You're right.
whose comp is better, and I think that Bastet has easier to hit CC than Mercury. There's going to be a Nemesis and a Geb following suit, so if it's between the Bastet and the Nemesis, I'd rather have the Bastet in solo, which tells me that Nem is probably going to the jungle, and then Geb just a singular blink engage could be solid, or you sit back, you just shield your teammates whenever the 9 turns blessing comes through. I think it's going to be a decent answer back. I like this comp a lot more than the previous one out of the Sages.
The Nemesis, someone that we've seen a lot of just in this meta. I mean, banned majority of it. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Resolution and my lightning
6? Yeah, just 6
illumination.
for this week so far. That's a lot considering that's 8 games or something like
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say that's
there's
most
not,
of them.
There's not a ton of Nemesis play that has been allowed. We also haven't been seeing a lot of Ratatosker or Zeus or Athena, admittedly. So a lot of fresh picks, I think, for the Wardens. Things that we've seen successful, things that we know what they can do in comp, but haven't been around for the last couple of weeks too much.
Yeah, Moswall is the only one that I really see playing this Zeus, and more often than not leaning towards the Outwash. But the Rat will have to see how they use that global presence around the map to try and counteract the Chernobog.
Yeah, typically it's what, Rat solo? So we'll see if it's going to be Rat solo or Erlang solo,
think
because
it's
they
Rat
both
solo.
can kind of go back and forth. It is like a mutual handshake where Ratatosker has agreed upon, yes, I can be a solo laner, and Erlang, despite what I could think aggro's best efforts earlier this year, is still clinging as best as he can to the jungle. That's where Sino is going to be. And you were right, this is the Bastet for Privative. And this one, I feel like looking at it now, top down, with that emblem on the side of the screen. I feel like I have seen it in the past, but I could not tell you when or where I've seen Priv play Bastet. So that one might just be me having a fever dream.
You
here in
dream
game
about
number
Priv
2.
playing Bastet?
Yeah, there's a point where Smite invades every aspect of you. I
Right.
always joke that Crab Rave follows me in my nightmares, but it's not a true joke if it happens. If you're laying down to bed and you just start going bum 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 ba dum ba dum ba, and you're just like, why?
Yeah, luckily for me, it still slaps. I'm just like,
You're
I'm a fan. But I have an interesting story, and it was more of a repressed memory, if you will.
An interesting story.
Yeah, my team made an SCC run back in the day, and Relentless One was playing Rat, and he was proxying the wave, between towers, and then he ulted to mid lane to murder me, and then just went back along his way and stole a bunch of farms. So this Rat, I've seen it before firsthand. I expect him to get some pressure in this lane, and then just start roaming and just making everyone else's life miserable. Briz is going to have his fingers ready on that Celestial Flight, trying to just fly away from this Rattle, because I expect it to get active pretty early on once that level 5 comes through.
Ooh, good knock up from Taco. First blood could be happening anywhere. Briz. Ooh, so low. Sino as well. Jingaru gets the slice and dice, gets the kill, but Detonate should. No, it's
doesn't
not up.
have
He's
it.
level 2. And so they're going to get out of there. Briz walks back into the lane. Oh, and gives up a kill. So 1 for 1. First blood goes to the jungle for the Sages.
Yeah, now Maswell has Detonate, but won't be able to use it because Jengaru said, I'm not getting near that Zeus. I don't want to try and battle that out. Maybe come and get the wave, but you know, trying to dance with a triple Detonate up against the Zeus very early on. Has restored Artifact also. Didn't go the Sands of Time. Has no form of starter. Just 60 power already means that Maswell is going to be doing a fair bit of damage, not wanting to deal with that. Probably smart. So it looks like Maswell's going to get that first blood, or actually not the first blood, the return kill because Jengaru got the first blood. Either way, that Zeus is going to be able to use that influence in the mid lane fairly well, as Jengaru will be able to finish that Golden Blade pretty early on here, earlier than Sino. Should be able to also use that influence, the movement speed you gain, the clear, the quick farm, I should say, is going to help out a ton in the early.
I had to double check because at the distance that I was looking at, it looked the same as the, what is it? That's the starter katana. But the starter for like Rage and Deathbringer, the short sword or
Hidden Dagger?
Yeah, Hidden Dagger. Very similar at distance, as it turns out, for the tier 1s here.
But man, one's way better.
Yeah, 1 is a lot better. If a tier 1, you have opinions on the tier 1s.
Yeah, if you hover over the NEM's tier 1, it gives movement speed, it gives power. Not many items do that.
Oh wow,
right?
yeah. Wait, this is the best tier 1 that
That's
I think
what
I
I'm
might
saying,
have seen in the game.
Hidden Dagger is just like, here's some power, and you don't even when you upgrade me, you're still not going to get anything else. Whereas Hidden Dagger, when you get that on with the Gilgamesh passive, you're in hog heaven. You get to zoom around the map even faster. It's
in
great.
hog heaven. Huh?
Yeah, you never heard that one? I'm sure you
I don't
have.
think well, maybe I have heard hog heaven. That seems like something my dad would say, if I'm being honest with you. But the thing is because it's Smite, you said that, and I'm like, yeah, hog heaven, where all hand of the gods went to die. And not, well, I guess, you know, in retrospect, that's a mean thing to say because the game got shut down.
I thought you were talking
I was
about the
talking
relic.
about the relic
Yeah.
that was used to steal all those objectives years and years and years ago. I guess it's still in there as a consumable, but
Yeah, people use it
it's
on
not the same anymore, man.
No, it's not the same. You're not seeing any blink-in hogs on Fire Giant. It's
I'm not
with
seeing
the
a
game.
Guan Yu support played by Trixtank using the brand new 2014 convention skin as he goes in, drops down with like a 4-man stun, and hogs the Fire Giant for the steal. All right,
I want to see that.
that
but,
was that was launch tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it was
You
at
can
least.
tell it's burned in
I
my
was gonna
memory.
say it was a 2014 skin, so it was at least.
And I was
2014.
jealous because I didn't have it yet.
Well, do you have it now?
Yeah, I got the code during the event. It's just they hadn't given them out to like the attendees yet. So I was sitting there watching you could see the new skin for Guan that was like the hey, you were here, but
You couldn't
I
redeem
didn't
it till you
have
got
it
home.
yet. Yeah, because like I must have had it in my possession.
Yeah, you probably were holding it like I can't wait to
But
load
I was
in the
watching
game.
Trix play with it, and I was jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you realized once you got the skin, you weren't going to play like Trixtank.
No, not at all. Also, I still use Master Quan Fu, so it's like the only time I whip out the convention skins are Tomato Kali and then occasionally the 2012 Artemis. Right now, though, Taco, ooh, good stun. It's not going to get you out of there. Wardens put a second kill on the board right next to the mid camps. Griffin, Snoopy. Snoopy's a little low. Looks like they might want to fight. I'm kind of surprised by this. They've got the minions advantage, and you're up against the Ching Wei. Doesn't feel like it'll go your way, but there's going to be the combo. Not enough. Griff goes through the ult. Snoopy backs away.
Snoopy might be able to ult back in here. They're both trying to back. It's an interesting game of chess here because the Chernobog will back, and then Jingwei's like, I have to back quickly or else he can fly back in. But also, you don't have to start channeling your back until you see Snoopy start backing as well. So Griff and Snoopy are just playing a game of chicken where it doesn't look like Snoopy's going to be able to back up to base and ult in and try and get aggressive on the Griff. So it will just be the one kill going the way of the Wardens as Taco goes down. But Gino rotates over and says that purple buff will not be going your way for free. And just doesn't go to steal it either. Just says, you can't get it yet. I'm not letting you get this farm. So I'm going to stick around, maybe watch and see until Jengaru forces the rotation over. And Gino still is going to try to steal this one away.
And Jingaru should be able to clear this knock-up
Oh,
from
no.
Taco. They're thrown out. I was going to say maybe a little too early, but they're able to secure that one. Gino tries, but is not able to find what they need there. The slice and dice maybe a little bit too strong for them. Priv, it's time to check in over here. Has a level lead over Relentless One. We were thinking that the pressure was going to go the other way, but is already stacking up the Soul Reaver, or Soul Eater, and seems pretty happy with it.
Yeah, at the moment, Rat doesn't clear the wave too easy, so it's going to take a bit. Once you have the upgraded Acorn, so you do get 2 charges of Flurry. One Rat's strongest abilities, in my opinion. Just the prot shred and being able to steal them away is going to be pretty solid. But you're not be able to. You can't really trade with a Bastet with Soul Eater right now. You just have to sit there and sort of enjoy it. Griff, though, is going to get aggressive onto Snoopy once again, but this time an Athena's coming.
Griff as the backup. Chernobog, where are you going to go? You coming back down? Nope, flying all the way across the map. Looks like maybe a little bit of luck with how Moswell was moving. Is able to get through right there. And Jengaru finds Relentless One. There's the pressure from Priv. Finally paying off a little bit more. And what was, I think, a couple hundred in favor, at least in terms of net worth, is now only brought down to 70. Snoopy, though, tries to get out. He's going to get chased down here. Taco surrounded by 4, trying to decide, do they want the support, do they want Briz? They're going to go for the Geb. A good Cataclysm gets the disengage. Detonate doesn't have enough charges to get the damage. It's only going to be the 1 kill for the Wardens.
Yeah, so essentially a 1-for-1 trade, although one of the kills was completely on the right side of the map and not involved in this fight at all. Jengaru has been trying to really use that first blood influence we were talking about. This Nemesis able to just roam around the map pretty freely right now after finding that first kill and then another kill in the right lane. So playing through Priv, certainly an option that the Sages could go for. Right now you have a Bastet that doesn't have any kills to their name, but is ahead in lane 1 level, and obviously Relentless One missed out a fair bit of farm because of that gank, so once the Bastet can make those rotations in, you have a much better engage onto this Zeus, where Moswell's beads have been up pretty much since this game started.
Taco, Snoopy, maybe Jengaru, all over here on left. To what I thought was going to culminate in something a little more active.
I also did. That's why I stopped.
Aggressive.
I was like,
but instead it's that purple buff. Got shown what for.
Oh yeah, I don't think that purple buff lived to tell the tale.
It never would have had a chance. It didn't see what was coming towards it. Barreling at it like a train.
We've seen some buffs win fights, but not this time around.
In beginning of the year, there was a surprising amount of player deaths to Fire Giant, but specifically Pyromancer. I remember, like, wasn't that? Was that kickoff or was that week 1? Where
yeah,
like
it was
Barra,
It was Panda Cat,
Twig,
and then immediately after was Barra, and then Twig and Variety both were battling up against it and almost lost.
And that's wild to me. Yeah, that was this year. Feels like ages ago, at least as of right now.
I do have to correct myself because Panda Cat died to Gold Fury, and then Barra
You're
died.
right. Panda Cat died to the
But
Gold
Barra
Fury.
tweeted after I pulled a Panda Cat after he died to Pyromancer, so it still sort of counts. It's just, you know, if we're giving the kills to the objectives, the Gold Fury has 1 up and the Pyromancer has to be removed.
Was it? It couldn't have been yesterday. It must have been Sunday during SBL. Someone died to a Fire Giant. I remember that much. Taco
might
once
die to
again.
Zeus.
Cataclysm. There's some damage. Will they get the kill? The pin does a little bit. Moswell gets the last auto. That's going to be the Geb off the board. Relentless One is low. Looks like the distance is going to be enough. The Sages not able to close it down. They get rid of Sino, though, and that's a big pickup. 1-for-1 support for jungle. Maybe a little bit more. Snoopy just caught out in the jungle. Killed off. Briz is low, so's Relentless One. Will they make this 2-for-2? So it's the duo lane for the right-hand side of the map as the trade.
Even given all of that, still, Jengaru the only one to have kills on the Sages. 4-0 is this Nemesis, and 4-5 is the Sages at the moment. So Jengaru might finally fall down because Moswell just has too much damage, has to wait for that shield. Only 2, it's not going to be enough.
That's just far enough away. Gino won't be able to close any gaps yet. Priv has to play it safe, though. 1 good taunt is all you need. Mana missing from Privative. There's the taunt. There's the shield, the chain lightning. Not enough damage, so Priv is going to be able to walk away just fine.
All the while, though, it looks like Grip was just pushing this left lane in. 2 levels up is the Jingwei over the Chernobog. 0-2 is Snoopy, and this wasn't 2 Griff, by the way. This was Snoopy rotating and ulting in, thinking he could help out the squad and getting caught out, where Grip just said, yeah, you could be 0-2 and 2, your assists are cool, but I'm simply going to farm the lane. I don't have to rotate in and help out my team to be winning these fights, and the Wardens are up in gold. And also, Griff is winning lane pretty heavily now. Even picked up a Chalice. Why not? When you're up this much, when you hit level 12 at 11 minutes, just get some extra sustain in there. You can afford it.
Now, this is so. Charlie, I'm sorry, my brain's dumb, and so I have to say this.
Go ahead.
You said 0-2 and 2. That might have to wait a little bit. Nope, good. We're fine as they back off here from the Sages. You said 0-2 and 2.
Correct.
And that has a very similar cadence in my ears that is immediately connected to AT&T. Okay. Sino is trying to get some damage done. We'll continue this bad joke, or maybe just leave it for dead where it is. Sino, dead where they are. Taken down. Snoopy gets a dash through the wall, gets out of there. We have aggression. Jengaru, Privative leading the way. And there's going to be the Athena channeled ult. Knockup's going to be great. Moswall killed off. And this is the swap they need. A double kill for Jengaru at 6-0-1. This Nemesis is really helping lead the team forward.
But what are the Sages going to get with it? It looks like a possible Pyromancer pull. Gold Fury is too far away at this point, and it looks like too many of the Wardens are around, so Pyro will be pulled, and Relentless One is going to have to watch as it goes down. The Ratatosker doesn't have enough mana to try and contest. Finally, though, maybe Griff gets active, stops Snoopy's back, and we'll just be fine with letting him go away. Throw some autos over towards Briz as well, but Griff, probably the first bit of damage he's really done in this whole game. A little bit of 1v1 up against the enemy ADC, but this is the first time really getting active in these fights, trying to help out. The left lane has been pushed a bunch. We've seen a lot of those minions die, but the Jingwei actually making the presence known at the Gold Fury is going to be the case, and only Taco is here at the moment trying to stall.
Cataclysm does have a good base damage on it now, though. It's not available just yet. Can you buy time? Can you live is maybe the big thing. Shield! No, it goes onto Jengaru, trying to shield yourself. Oh, the unfortunate nature of the targeter there, causing a little bit of trouble. Sino goes in. Sino takes a lot of poke. Fury dropped. So is the Lightning Storm. There's a good dunk in the background, and Relentless One is looking for a little bit more. Jengaru, the shield. It's creating some distance. Briz trying to find the root and create some space. Sino goes down. Snoopy goes down as the chase continues from the Rat, but the kill won't be there for Relentless One. And they pick up what they need. Trade that out, what, 2 for 2 total?
Yeah, it was a massive shutdown that got avoided. Jengaru was able to live there, but Griff is still trying to keep the team up. The Sages were able to save that Gold Fury, and now possibly looking for a kill onto the Jingwei because Taco is back and has that Cataclysm available. There is no sort of engage here, and it will just be the full retreat as the Sages are happy with not losing the Gold Fury onto that one. So much damage coming out from Oswald, though, that you wouldn't expect this Obsidian Shard rush. But given the fact that there are some tanky targets here that you want to try and hit, Priv is still going in.
And Priv is doing a lot. I mean, if that knockup connects on Griff, that might just be a kill. Will they still be able to find more? The taunt is good. There's a Cataclysm onto 2. Taco tanking up the tower, goes deep. They need one more hit, but Priv is too low. This might be the turnaround. Snoopy comes crashing in with the ult and is able to find one. Goes deep towards the Phoenix, is going to run through the base and look to channel the back in a safe spot up into the air. There's the Ratatosker crashing down soon onto Priv. Snoopy is laying a trap. Do you have the damage? Can you kill off Gino? And it seems so far the answer is yes, but not enough just yet. There's the reach. It's going to stall the back.
Eventually, Moswell's coming.
And meanwhile, Relentless One still dancing between 3. Moswell's here. This should be the end. Yeah, Snoopy tries to get the kill where they can. But he's going to die deep for their troubles. Takes out Griff, so that's the 1-for-1 there. Relentless One dies too deep. And the 3-on-1 for the Sages helps them out.
But what happened while that was going on? It seems like the Sages looked at Gold Fury, said, we can't really do this, our ADC's gone. Sino was on the right side of the map, finding all sorts of farm to take away, pushing the wave in solo as well, so getting a fair bit of farm for the Wardens. Jengaru's level 16, though. Pretty much dominating the map, 7-0 right now, a huge bounty on the head of the Nemesis, and it looks like Sino might be getting that Defender of Olympus on the way, but a blink for blink, I don't think they can chase this.
Oh, there's the pin. Ooh, and the ult from Priv is able to connect. Sino is the target, but a good taunt. Peels for the jungler. Gets that 9 turns blessing off and makes sure that the healing is there. Sino goes from almost dead with a little bit of gap for life, pretty much back to full health. And that stops the Sages from pushing forward. Trelly, all of this action, all these kills back and forth, what is it, a 3-kill lead? Yeah, and the gold is 200 between these two teams.
Can I just say that the engage of the Wardens is probably one of the most annoying I've seen in quite some time, where Sino goes in, gets a massive 9 turns blessing. We usually see 1 or 2 beats. And then immediately after the fact, Gino just dashes in and says, I'm going to re-taunt you after you've beads down the taunt. Maybe Taco has a shield for it, and then Jengaru says, all right, while you guys are getting taunted, I'm going to go to the back line. Gold Fury is going to be started up, and unless Griff has some fancy moves here, I think this is going to be good, pretty free.
Griff has a lot of fancy moves, just not fast enough, so it's not going to matter what could happen in that one. So Gold Fury, the Sages now pulling themselves to a point where this lead feels like it could be something. 16.5 minutes in, though, only, what, 1,000, a little over ahead. Is maybe not the craziest lead that you could have, especially with Privative in trouble. 2v1 under the tier 1 tower on right. Priv has no mana to work with, but there's Snoopy, and they are in a 2v4. Up on the tree is going to be Relentless One, crashing down. Great damage and setup. They use 3 ults to get the 1 kill. Feels like the Wardens may be over-investing for Priv.
Trying to just find any little bit of farm is going to help them out a lot, but what do the Sages do? When those ults are down is the real question, because if they just wait and just sit back and say, hey, our Bastette's gone for 25 seconds, we don't really want to force up, that's not going to be your best option. But I think recognizing how much they invested on that gank, Pyromancer is being looked at here, but Defender of Olympus is channeled, and Gino's going to join the fight.
It has been an arduous game for both of these teams. There's a good Cataclysm. Stuns are solid. The numbers are about to be even. Up into the air goes Briz, dashes away. Uses that immunity. Taco paths towards the tier 1. Jengaru's going to get back in mid as well. Looks like almost safe ult. Had to be used by Briz. Make sure Relentless One stays away. Jengaru goes back in, and the damage was close, but not quite there. Snoopy at Atalanta's rang true for 1 crit, but has not yet been enough. Sino blinks forward. Good knock-up. There's the Lightning Storm. Snoopy finds the auto-trade and kills off 1, but it's a trade in a 1-for-1 with Moswall, picking up the enemy ADC. Gino trying to find the taunts. Relentless One looking for the knock-ups, trying to find the chase. Can they get more, or are they just alone? The damage from the Sage is not going to be enough, and Briz actually goes down. This could be the turnaround they need with Griff looking for more kills. Jengaru is going to get the back off. The Priv is now alone with Taco in the nearby neighborhood to maybe help out with a shield.
Oh, that's going to be it. That's so much damage from Oswald.
Oh no, there's the 3rd charge. There's the detonator. Woo!
Not enough.
Surely they get out.
Not enough. The CAD shield was just enough. Just enough protections there to make sure that Moswell doesn't clear that one. That was such a long fight. Remember, this started about the time that Pyromancer was going down. It's going to continue. I don't think this chase from Jengaru will net anything, as Priv is still alive, but Snoopy flies back in.
I mean, there's going to be a good stun. Relentless One is gone. Priv alive, kicking, low on mana, low on health, but does not seem to be stopping anytime soon. Pulls back with the rest of the squad.
When
like
did Moswell get more kills than Jengaru?
Who knows, man? I mean, wild that Moswell is... I don't even want to say silent. It's been a lot of damage. Their top player damage. It has just been sneaky for them to pick these up.
The chain lightnings have just been connecting, and Moswell, I was going to say, if Snoopy's asleep at the wheel here, maybe might even find another kill. But at this point, still a little bit of a lead for the Sages. There's a massive shutdown gold still on Jengaru's side. We've seen this NEM get very low as Priv has forced to beat, and we'll just jump out here and a swing and a miss on the ultimate. I don't think this Bastette's a great target, but it looks like the Wardens want him.
Yeah, the burn this time, yeah, it's enough. And they are able to find the kill on the Privative. Immediately the turn towards the FG. 20 minutes might be that magic marker. Ult is up for Moswell. That's been a good way to burn down FGs in the past. They've got the 3 charges. Taco, Jengaru, Briz. They're all here, and they see that it's going on.
And it looks like Taco will get taunted in. Could be deleted here, but has the shield. There is 3 charges, and Moswell is here to do the detonate.
Yeah, and that is a ton to close it out. There's the Storm, and there's Sino to be able to find the last hit. Briz used that immunity maybe too early. There's the Aegis of the Beads. All in vain, because you go down anyway. Snoopy's trying to get out of here. Ooh, Jengaru! Maybe he's helping save some of the day. Gets a single kill in return. But in a 1v4,
Jengaru wins
Oswald,
these.
no.
There's
Honestly,
no way they can go for this, right?
You
Their
can
health
chase
is so
the
low.
Zeus. Can you chase the Zeus?
I think Jengaru wins these. I'm going to be honest. If they pull this Fire Giant, I think Jengaru is going to be able to shut this down.
Fire Giant's pulled. Jengaru's around the corner. Jengaru throws the ult out on 1. And has Primitive here as well. The damage is enough to get the Wardens away. And I thought there was going to be maybe a little bit more. I was excited. I thought there was going to be a fight to turn everything back for the Sages. Instead, 14 kills to 15, only 1 separating the 2, and the gold is pretty much even.
Yeah, you
that's
did
it. That's the game.
You have recapped everything up to this point. We've seen a lot of kills. We've seen a lot of failed engages, successful engages, but what it has brought us to is simple. We're 20 minutes in. There's an Oni Fury on the left side of your map. There's a Pyromancer spawning in shortly on the right side of your map. No real advantage to either side right now, but you have a Zeus that has both relics up and hasn't been aggressed really at all because of how well the tanks have been playing on the side of the Wardens. And you have a Nemesis that's been relatively safe because of Taco, but finally, it looks like maybe Jengaru's health will go below half.
Yeah, the damage is there. Gino or Sino is able to get it. Gino chasing down with them. Oni Fury, it should be completed here pretty easily by the Wardens. they left me questioning. It was a little slower than I expected. But they got a massive kill at 8-0.
That is the
Turn to
kill.
the 8-1. It is maybe the most important one on the board. Could be another one if they chase down Taco even more. Gino seems to want this. They're going to block the rollout. They've got pretty much everything other than the Cataclysm. Taco's going to get out alive, but the Wardens feel like they have an advantage. Snoopy, meanwhile, he's just split pushing.
Yeah, I think Snoopy wants to join the fight in a little bit, but might take his time because of the fact that they have a man advantage. Jengaru is not going to be to help, and it looks like Snoopy will just go for that tier 2 tower and left while Fire Giant is being looked at, and no one from the Sages decides to show face on that objective, and it looks like Snoopy actually will be able to get that tier 2 tower as no one from the Wardens wants to show face over on the left side of the map. I was thinking maybe you just see like a base race at this point, but Griff did back up and will be able to fly in and stop the pressure on this side of the map as Priv is hiding around the corner here.
Looks for a little bit more. Ult isn't going to connect, though. Griff, maybe now on the chase. Priv has no mana. Snoopy's channeling a back. No, Snoopy's just playing Ring Around the Rosie. Knock up good, and the shots from Griff find the kill. And even though it's only 3 separating them, the last couple of kills for the Wardens have felt very impactful. Might feel even more impactful. Jengaru low one more time. Can they get it? Yes! Sino shuts him down. Sino's still alive. Briz might be able to find the root, some return damage, but won't get a kill. And the Wardens run away with quite literal murder.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage coming out of Briz, though. This mid lane, this Yu Huang, is still able to output a fair bit if you try and disrespect the amount of damage he has. And it looks like this tier 2 tower is on the table, but still Relentless One is diving the backline with literal no HP at this point. So weak and not afraid of anyone on the side of the Sages. And there's no way they're feeling confident enough to go for mid Phoenix because Griff is on the left side of the map, so they will back off and just decide to go for the tier 2 in right and the tier 2 in left simultaneously. They have quite a bit of time. Snoopy will be able to spawn in here and has the ultimate to try and chase someone down. With the position the Sage is in right now, probably just wants to farm up, wants to tick over to level 20, upgrade that starter, and then try and see how they're going to be able to siege a defense here. A very even game up until that Fire Giant, and now about 7,000 gold, close to 8 in favor of the Wardens.
Yeah, it is a lot of gold. And not a lot that you can do about it. Items starting to get 6 slotted. Admittedly matching up in some places if you look just straight down the board, but that's probably going to change on some of these backs. Yeah, items purchased. You get a nice little shillelagh picked up for Relentless One. And then Death's Temper locked in, upgraded starters for every person on the Wardens. I had to double check to make sure Moswell had eventually bought a starter. Because I guess I missed it earlier when he did, but he does have it, has upgraded it. So they're feeling powerful in that regard, powerful in the extra gold, looking for 6th items. The Blackthorn Hammer gets finished. And they've got good relics going for them here, Trelly. I mean, they've only got 2 blinks that are down right now. Feels like they could definitely start the fights they want to and maybe start knocking on these Phoenixes with the minute and a half they have left in the power play.
Yeah, so remember when I was talking about the engage where Sino, blinks in, gets a big taunt, get the relics down, and then Gino can come in after the fact. And if you still haven't relicked at that point, also has the Sprout, the sprint route, if you will, to try and get even more.
I was trying to figure out. I'm glad you explained it. I was definitely left behind on that one. The Sprout.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I like it. Yeah.
Root sprint, Sprout, sprint route. Either way, Snoopy is going to have to dodge out the stun, and Priv goes for the ult and just ulted up by the Ratatosk. Relentless One can stall for the team and then go in here.
Well, there's a double knock-up from Relentless One. Then a double taunt coming down from Gino. There's the Lightning Storm. The damage is good. Taco barely gets out of there, drops the Cataclysm on no one. Snoopy dies on the left, so the peel wasn't there, and it doesn't matter anyway. Briz is low, Sino's deep, and gets the kill. 2-man taunt, Priv going to go down, and the Wardens are walking into the Titan room. How much do they care about the kills? Titan finally taking some damage, this time a little bit quicker than game number 1. Taco does not have anything to work with here. and the Wardens are going to take this set 2-0.
Yeah, but not before they try to take out Jingaru one more time. The blink will ensue. There's no way you can kill this Nemesis, and finally, the Titan will go down. Zeus, once with a lead, it is so difficult to try and defend because you're encouraged to group up and try and use your 5 to 6 man advantage if you're counting the Phoenix, but Chain Lightning just bounces throughout the squad when you do that, especially when you're up against the Titan.
Yeah, a lot of, I think, good control from the Wardens. They get good farm. I actually think the Sages show a lot of promise in game number 2 there. And again, that's with a sub, right? That is not the quote-unquote full force that you're going to have, and at least not what they're used to, what they've been practicing with over the last couple of weeks. It has been a fantastic game, though. And I think it's important to note how close it is. Again, 21 minutes into that, we're virtually even gold. It wasn't until that Fire Giant, really, for the Wardens that it started to explode in their favor. It's just a couple of kills, Charlie, but sometimes that's all you need.
And I would say you essentially are counting it as 2 subs, right? Because 3 different players on this squad
in the same
were
roles.
forced into off-roll, right? Because you have Snoopy, who was playing solo in game number 1, and then Priv goes over to solo as well, just to switch around the whole team dynamic. So did look very solid there. The Wardens just obviously were able to get Moswell online, and then no one could really get to the Zeus besides the one time Moswell fell very early on. Besides that, vastly able to free cast, grouping up where the Sages just getting punished for the Chain Lightnings and these Lightning Storms. You had so much CC on the side of the Wardens to set up for it, so Moswell could just sit back and say, I can weasel my damage in wherever I really need to at this point.
Yeah, it was, even like surprising at one point when he was like 8-1, and we were like, I'm sorry, what?
Because Jengaru was 7-0.
Yeah, where did you get all these kills? Moswell, what have you been doing? Well, it turns out just that. I mean, we got to see it a couple of times there. Ends the game at 10-1-7. Jengaru 8-2, so we saw the 8-0, and that was the last of it for Jengaru. 7-5-12. It's a good game, I think, from the Sages, all things considered, but the Wardens just played a little cleaner in game 1 and 2, farm out a little stronger, and, give or take 32,000 damage from a Zeus is pretty helpful when it comes down to fighting.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have not seen the Zeus too much in the SPL as of recent. It's just one of those picks that sort of fell by the wayside. Very highly looked at for a while, and then sort of fell around. But he's still able to do crazy amounts of damage if you build a squad around it and say we're gonna protect the Zeus, we're gonna set up for the Zeus, and then all these taunts coming in, Chain Lightning just gets so much more effective. So if you're able to navigate your squad like this, Moswell can just do whatever he wants essentially on that map.
Yeah, it ends up working out real well for the Wardens. Again, a team I was personally surprised that in the standings we're 0-1, but you'll be able to see after we look at the schedule and then look into the standings, things are going to be looking a little better for them. I expect them to be on the rise. 2-1 earlier, you watched between the Tanuki and the Weavers. 2-0. If you're just now tuning in, got bad news for you. The set's over. But the VOD is going to be available on Twitch like immediately after this, so you can just watch if you're really interested in it, or if you're like, maybe not right now, just wait for a couple of days and go to youtube.com/SmitePro. Or sorry, Smite VOD.
Isn't it Smite Pro VODs?
Smite Pro has all of the media day content, behind the scenes stuff, anything we throw up there. Smite VOD.
Gotcha.
That has all the good old games. You can watch season 1, whatever you want. And of course, here's the standings for you, 1-1 for both the Sages and the Wardens. I will say, Sages already off to a better start than they were last phase. Last phase, definitely a rough start for them, but they had a tumultuous just weeks in terms of roster. I don't think it was until week 3, maybe even later than that. Snoopy joined in, so it was definitely kind of topsy-turvy for them, but tied up in the middle, and we'll see how they end up gravitating and where they go as we start to approach the, I guess, week 3, week 4, middle of phase 2, and then towards the end to see if the Sages can maybe bring things back from where they started this year.
But more interestingly than that, Saturday, we will be able to see who's going to not be undefeated anymore, because the Storm and the Hounds will go up against each other, both 1-0, tied for first place at the moment. If you're taking in last phase into consideration, the Hounds should just be on top as they were all of last phase, but the Storm had some roster shakeups as well, and they've been looking pretty solid.
Not only on top all of last phase, they were the only SCC team to knock out an SPL team during Masters. They eliminated the Solar Scarabs, and so the Hounds, a team that you've got to keep your eyes on because of the talent that they showcased when they were here on LAN, when they were just down the hall from us, so it'll be interesting to see what they have. But again, SCC is not all that we have going on throughout this week. We also got the SPL starting tomorrow, 1 p.m. If you're wondering, 2 sets Friday, 2 sets Saturday, then the 3-fer starting at 11 on Sunday. Dragons and Bolts is what's going to kick us off. Mathematically, I got bad news for the Bolts, but I'm excited to see how that one's going to shake out. It has been a historic matchup for the Dragons almost every single time they meet. And that is something that has to be resting on the Bolts' shoulders. So I'm excited to see what the SBL has to offer. Of course, Europe's going to start us at 11 a.m. tomorrow, all right here. But for myself, from Trelly, thank you so much for tuning in today in the SCC. And we'll see you tomorrow bright and early for more. See you then. I lost it.